Tell me a little bit about your teaching philosophy. How did you approach teaching, and what do you think made you different?
The three things I think you have to do in order to be a proper, satisfying profession. One, you know your material. You study hard so that when you go before a group of students, you perform because you know this is the way it should be. I always say at the beginning, though, when I'm telling you the facts, I think they are the true facts. The interpretation is something very different. That's when I move beyond the fact that I think is absolutely true. Otherwise, I will tell you, it seems to me this is the way it is. This is what these dots that we're connecting have to do with the ultimate ideas and significance. Okay, first thing, knowledge. Second thing, ability to communicate. You've got to speak loudly. You've got to know when to shut up and when to expand. You've got to look in the eye of those students and you know whether they're getting it or not. If they're not, stop, redo it. Think it through before you ever go to class, how you're going to present that knowledge that you've stacked up. Third thing is to like students. I know a lot of professors who don't like students, and I have to ask myself, why are you teaching? I know a lot of people are dissatisfied with the job they have, but you're playing with a mind. You have no right to be in here if you don't like the people you're dealing with. I can't prove that that's a good idea, but it's my idea. In a nutshell, that's my teaching philosophy. If a student, in addition, comes to you, say at the end of class, and says, I need to talk with you about something, be prepared to do that. It makes so much difference to some students that you took time to listen to them. They'll tell you their troubles, they'll tell you everything. You find out things you don't want to know. Students come, listen, I'm a homosexual. Yeah, you know, you talk without moving a muscle. Yeah, and you don't get shocked. But I've had it all, and I mean, all of it. I could be more specific, but I won't. But you've got to take time. If you've got office hours and you're supposed to keep those office hours. I've seen professors who, because you're forced to have office hours, who are not there. The door's shut. I tried to keep my door open like it was for me. And usually I do, except during private conversations, when you can't. There's nothing magic about anything I ever did. Just cold, hard basics. I never use notes, and I don't for a good reason. It's a little harder, but, well, I'll tell you why. When I was at VMI, I was coach of their GE College Bowl team. We set the highest record ever up to that time. Bright student. And anyway, they asked me to come speak to a lot of VMI alumni clubs. And I went down to Atlanta, flew down. And I was talking to the president of the club, who was agricultural chemist, PhD, and very bright. And he was talking about his VMI experience. And he somehow talked about a fella, I still remember his name, Showalter, whom I never met. But he said one day in class, Showalter raised his hand and asked the professor, a fellow named Colonel German, do we have to know all those formulas you're putting out? And German said, well, of course. What do you think I'm up here teaching you? Of course you have to know all these. He said, well, I'm just wondering, you don't. You're reading all off your notes. And he told me this story, say when I was in Atlanta. And on the way back, I had a long meeting with myself. And I thought, I have no business using notes. I expect a student on a test without the benefit of notes to regurge to me what I've told him and hopefully a little more. And I expect him to be organized. I expect him to use the proper grammar, to make convincing statements. I said, I'm supposed to be doing all this, but I use notes. So I stopped using notes. I just threw them aside. Said I'm not using them anymore. I expect out of the student something that I'm not willing to do myself. That I can't live with that. So from that time forward, I stopped using notes. And I never, almost never, sometimes I wanted to read something.
Right.
A document maybe, but normally I stopped using them altogether.
Did you have an outline?
What's that?
Did you have an outline for your?
No.
Just.
I gave it to them in a lecture.
Okay.
But every reason I thought against doing away with notes, I found the excuse wasn't valid because we wanted those students. This is my field. I'm supposed to know it. I'm supposed to be able to organize it, to present it. I get paid for that. Here's a student who might not be a history major at all, taking your class, and you expect him to know and do all these things, and yet you don't practice it yourself. So